pay everybody? Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You do that?
Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit you're...
Let's go into the drama that is playing out in Dolton, Illinois, where Mayor Tiffany Henyard is the subject of a scandal that is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. The conflict between Henyard and Dolton's residents has reached a full-blown and elected official under fire for a growing list of accusations, including poor management, angry public outbursts, and wasteful spending habits, is at the center of the mayhem, which is characterized by a showdown where tensions seem to be reaching new heights every day. The locals are frustrated and upset with Henyard's blatant, apparent disrespect for her responsibilities. Henyard has been accused of creating a toxic political environment, ignoring calls for transparency, and dismissing demands for her resignation with a defiance that has left many stunned. Instead of confronting the growing accusations head-on or attempting to mend relationships with the community, Henyard has reportedly retaliated with more outbursts and evasive tactics, leaving Dolton residents feeling betrayed and powerless. Unheard from in heated town hall meetings that have descended into verbal altercations to persistent allegations of misappropriation of public funds, Henyard's tenure has been nothing short of a political whirlwind. Reports of her allegedly wasting taxpayer funds on expensive and unnecessary events and personal luxuries have also added to the spectacle. Critics say this is careless, but for many locals, it's the last straw in what they see as a lengthy pattern of neglect and poor management that has left Dolton struggling financially and facing an increasingly serious leadership crisis as public discontent mounts demands for justice and accountability. Get louder yet. Heard's increasingly unpredictable reactions, which are marked by outspoken denials, finger-pointing, and attempts to assign blame, only serve to exacerbate the situation rather than diffusing it or demonstrating any kind of compromise. Henyard's response has escalated the situation to previously unheard-of proportions, presenting a picture of a leader who refuses to take accountability or pay attention to her voters' pleas. The relationship between Henyard and the town she governs, which was once tumultuous but manageable, has now descended into a full-scale conflict, leaving Dolton at a crossroads that could determine its future.
Sometimes we get invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure that...
Let's go back to a recent town meeting in Dolton, Illinois. The scene may go down as one of the most chaotic displays of local government dysfunction ever seen, with tensions soaring and residents pouring into the room in frustration. At the heart of it all was Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who seemed to enjoy her role as the antagonist in a story that was engulfing her small town. She was smiling through waves of criticism, dismissing serious concerns, and even going so far as to make fun of her own constituents on live television. Yes, this is the same mayor who seems more interested in enhancing her controversial reputation than responding to the serious grievances of the people she was elected to serve. Supposedly called to address mounting concerns about her leadership, soon turned into a public outcry fueled by claims of financial mismanagement and scandal after scandal. Residents became enraged with the mayor, who seems to enjoy causing conflict rather than finding solutions. Numerous complaints allege that taxpayer funds were used for personal indulgences, such as lavish dinners, opulent vacations, and even lavish events that allegedly served no public purpose. One particularly shocking expense was an $85,000 tab for a poorly attended party with supper performers that was paid for entirely with taxpayer dollars. While Dolton residents were incensed that their hard-earned money had been wasted, Henyard seemed unconcerned, choosing instead to laugh off their ire. This meeting was not just a venting session, it was a last-ditch appeal for leadership in the face of an administration that feels increasingly chaotic and self-serving as the town grapples with financial turmoil and allegations pile up, including claims that Henyard's misuse of public funds has directly contributed to the community's fiscal woes. Residents have begun to openly question how much longer they can endure under her tenure, but instead, It turned into a masterclass in dismissiveness as she dismissed allegations with an air of smug indifference. Rose is calling for answers and accountability. The meeting concluded as a stark reminder of the enormous gap between Henyard and her constituents, highlighting not only a failure of governance, but also an administration mired in scandal, tone deafness, and a striking lack of empathy. Residents were left with more questions than answers, while Henyard remained steadfast in her defiance, dismissing the growing outrage as nothing more than noise. For Dalton, a town burdened by controversy, the night signaled that the road to resolution was long, difficult, and fraught with turmoil.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is,
as soon as the town meeting began, mayhem broke out, and the mood swiftly descended into a heated confrontation between irate citizens and Mayor Tiffany Henyard. The rage among the crowd was evident. As Henyard, unfazed, took the stage, the tension was so high that it almost leaked through the screen. Instead of addressing the mounting concerns or offering solutions, she did what she has come to be known for. She avoided mocking and exuded an air of exasperation and division as their alcohol and jeers blended with sporadic cheers of support. Unshakable assurance, she dismissed objections with contempt, brushed aside the rage in the room with her trademark smirk, and made it clear that she had no intention of leaving. At one point, Henyard even took to her belligerent persona, who calls herself Super Mayor, and boasted that she was the mayor and supervisor of the people. Her statement was met with more outrage than applause. A frustrated resident was captured on camera yelling, "You won't understand until they come and put cuffs on you." It was a scathing and poignant accusation that summed up the Henyard's unbridled power and alleged abuses of office are causing rising discontent among Dalton's people, which might potentially lead her down a legal route she might not. However, Henyard didn't flinch in the face of such harsh criticism. Instead, she waved dismissively, dismissing the crowd's ire as merely the result of misbehaving youngsters having a fit. It is precisely because of her contemptuous demeanor and refusal to accept or take seriously her detractors that Dalton citizens have reached their breaking point. Tiffany Henyard makes sure she gets the final say rather than simply brushing off concerns. It's difficult to reconcile this version of Henyard with the optimistic figure they elected as Dalton's first female mayor a few years ago. At the time, she was a breath of fresh air, a bold and capable leader who promised to shake things up for the better. Residents once saw her as a symbol of progress and strength, someone who would champion their concerns and usher in a new era for Dalton. However, that optimism has turned to disillusionment as many see her actions as self-serving and negatively impacting the community. Her public demeanor, once regarded as bold confidence, now feels abrasive, disconnected, and completely out of touch. Each meeting that Henyard presides over seems to spiral into chaos due to her dismissiveness and apparent disregard. The promises of positive change have yielded allegations of financial mismanagement scandals and a pattern of governance that prioritizes Henyard's own ambitions over the needs of the town residents, who once admired her determination. Residents now accuse her of wielding power with an iron fist, making unilateral decisions, and dismissing opposing voices with contempt. As the chaos took place at the meeting, it became abundantly clear to everyone watching that Henyard's tenure is no longer just a matter of mistakes or disagreements. Rather, it's a political powder keg exploding in real time. Accountability. What once seemed like strength has transformed into an attitude of defiance that alienates her constituents and solidifies her critics' claims that her leadership prioritizes optics and control over meaningful governance.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people's supervisor.
Tiffany Henyard is facing legal issues that are far more serious than the dysfunctional local government on display behind the public altercations and contentious town meetings. According to reports, federal agents are investigating her handling of the finances of Dalton Village, which is leading to serious accusations of corruption. There is nothing subtle about the charges against Henyard. Whispers within the wind but a flurry of complaints from almost every angle, including disgruntled residents, disillusioned employees, and former trustees, all accusing him of wrongdoing, paints a picture of Henyard diverting public funds for her own benefit, thereby enriching herself at the expense of the community. The claim that she has appointed unqualified people to important positions in the village government only serves to exacerbate these accusations. People whose appointments are due to personal allegiance rather than professional. The alleged network of cronyism has been characterized as a self-serving mechanism aimed at protecting her dominance, while some argue that it is a strategic move to consolidate her power, creating an environment where dissent was stifled and her allies ensured her agenda prevailed whether it served the public interest or not. Ignoring responsibility as criticism grows and Henyard's actions are perceived as a betrayal of public confidence, causing a great deal of outrage. Dalton is currently experiencing a crisis that has rocked the town to its foundation due to a mix of financial mismanagement, unethical governance, and overt favoritism. Residents and officials are united in their demand for justice, transparency, and the restoration of integrity in their local government.
And that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
One particularly troubling accusation is that Henyard used public funds for personal expenses. There have been reports of her using taxpayer dollars to pay for upscale dining, luxury vacations, and even the purchase of pricey personal items from Amazon. In one case, it was discovered that she spent over $40,000 in a single day on Amazon. And the worst part is that nobody truly knows what was bought or why it was required for village business to talk about shady. The village's finances are in total chaos. The village's general fund has a negative balance of $365 million, let alone $365 million in debt, according to former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was appointed as a special investigator by Dalton's trustees. Despite this, Henyard continues to act as if nothing is wrong. She boldly declared that, "You know it's me of power, so how dare you think you can come into someone's town and do work?" The Henyard appointee's audacity is one way that other governments always do it. Go and investigate people nearby. And that's what they're doing here. However, it's not just the spending that's raising concerns. There's also the issue of Henyard appointing her hand-picked allies to important positions, such as a new police chief and village attorney, without the village board's approval. The catch is that the Cook County judge intervened and blocked those appointments, claiming that Henyard had overreached her authority and that I was acting without permission. In fact, the judge issued a temporary restraining order in order to prevent. The judge issued a temporary restraining order last month to prevent her from making those appointments without trustees' approval. Naturally, she didn't take the ruling seriously either. Despite the court order, she reportedly told her appointees to keep showing up at Village Hall as if nothing had happened, and when trustees confronted her about her defiance, Heard simply dismissed them as though the laws didn't apply to her. An increasing number of legal challenges. All okay, all right, clickbait anything else, I suppose. I get sued from it constantly, so please stop. What is this blatant disregard for the law that has people wondering how long she can continue? The legal issues are mounting. There are already rumors that she may face criminal charges. The FBI is looking into it, and it's only a matter of time until things get out of hand. Not to mention that even Henyard Inner Circle is feeling the heat, as Keith Freeman, one of her closest allies, has already been charged with bankruptcy fraud. If found guilty, he faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Investigations may also target Henyard, but the scandal doesn't stop them. Rumor has it that Henyard's inner circle isn't as close-knit as she may think. Sources indicate that at least one of her close allies has already begun working with investigators.
The way that government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing.
The best and ever skins are very grateful to have received the information today. I've been here since 1993. Rumor has it that some of her other appointees are also cooperating with investigators. which could spell disaster for Henyard because it's one thing to stand your ground when you've exposed more secrets about her administration's shady dealings. Could we see even more unexpected names come forward? It's becoming clearer that loyalty to Henyard might just come at a hefty personal cost, and some are reportedly willing to risk everything just to save their own. Henyard House of Cards may collapse sooner rather than later, but here's the crazy part. Despite everything that's happening, she continues to insist on presenting herself as a buyer. She's been holding separate meetings, making public appearances, and acting as though she's the only one in charge. Even though court orders and public opinion are firmly against her at this point, it's difficult to tell if she's in complete denial or if she genuinely believes she can. She even attempted to hold a meeting at Village Hall after being removed by the trustees, but the courts shut it down again. This was a bold move and another example of her determination to keep power at all costs, but it also shows how isolated she has become, as her once loyal supporters are dwindling, and the only people left in her corner seem to be those who stand to lose the most as she loses. I'm going to address some of the last word things as the supervisor, else there won't be any more, remarks. Henyard's ability to get the last word, even when it's completely unnecessary, is part of what makes her so incredibly annoying to her critics. There will be something, but it will be me telling you guys what's going on. And let's not forget the comment section, because trust us, fans have a lot to say about everything that one person wrote. Tiffany always has to get the last word, and it's usually stupid. She has zero shame, and honestly, that seems to sum up what a lot of people are feeling. Another viewer said, "I'm not complaining, I'm just explaining and more." Tiffany criticizes others, but she does not like to be criticized by others. One thing is certain though, this story is far from over. You didn't go to Las Vegas. The legal wheels are turning, and it feels like something major is going to drop any day now. The opponents are piling up, and with every new piece of evidence that comes to light, Henyard's grip on her office seems to be strengthened. Henyard is quick to dish it out, but she can't seem to handle the heat when it's directed at her. With so much tension in the air, it's difficult to predict how this saga will end. To ease up a bit, the court has made it clear that her actions are legal, and the community has made it clear that they want her gone. The only question now is how long she can continue to hold out, and that's where we'll leave it for the time being. But really, do you think Henyard will voluntarily step down, or will she continue to ride this train until it falls apart? What about her supporters? Why do you think they're sticking by her when it seems like everything is falling apart around them? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this drama as it develops.